Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chair Yoga. My name is Sarah Isham, and all you will need for today's session is a chair with or without armrests. And if you find that when you're seated all the way to the back of your chair that your feet don't touch the floor, it is highly suggested and recommended that you find a prop of some sort, either books or a shoebox or a blanket, or maybe you have a foot pad, so that you can keep your feet flat on the floor throughout today's session. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started by settling into our Sukhasana, our easy pose, the most comfortable seated position that you can find. I invite you to close your eyes. And as you are getting settled into your easy pose, we're going to begin our session today by introducing the concept of a yogic approach to stress management. Many people experience stress as morass. They don't know quite where it starts, how it engulfs them, or how to change it. It seems like their stress won't stop unless they somehow run away from the situation or struggle to overcome it, which is the fight or flight response or the stress response. That is where the yogic science can be so useful. Yoga is so much more than physical postures, as it is far more about the science of the mind than contorting one's body into different positions. Yoga gives us tools to understand our reaction and to heal from the effect of stress. Yoga begins with a fundamental understanding, which is that at our center, we are already happy. At our center, we are pure spirit, therefore free from stress. However, our experiences of inner peace is usually obscured by our reactions to the world around us. We identify with the ever-changing events rather than with our never-changing true nature. Yoga teaches us that we can experience happiness all the time if we clear away the disturbances of the mind and body that distract us from our true inner peace. So take this opportunity to set your intention for today's session. Take a moment to get in touch with the rhythm of your breath without making any attempts to change it. Just simply observe your breathing. Now that we've taken a few moments to bring our attention inward, let's go ahead and begin going through some postures to work on mobility and even out our blood pressure and circulation. Begin by extending your arms so that the palms are towards each other and the sides of the palms are rested on the lap. On your inhale, raise the arms up towards the ceiling as high as is comfortable for you. Listen to your shoulders. Ease into this posture, honoring your range of motion. Once you've reached your full range of motion upward, I invite you to gently shift your gaze upward at a diagonal angle. And on your exhale, lower the arms back down towards the lap and shift your gaze down towards the lap as well. Just 2 more breaths here. Inhale as you raise the arms, shifting your gaze upward. Fill your lungs nice and tall. And exhale, lower the arms and shift your gaze back down towards your lap. One last breath here, slow and controlled. Take your time. Deep inhale, elongated through the spine. Reach up as high as your shoulders will allow comfortably. And on your exhale, lower the arms back down towards the lap. And find yourself back in a neutral position. Now let's take a moment to check in with our posture. Let's sit up a little taller, elongated through the spine, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Take a moment to imagine a marionette string pulling you from the crown of your head straight up towards the ceiling. Your chin is parallel with the floor as well, so it's not tilted down or up. Imagine that it's on a train track. Now from here, open your arms out at your sides with the palms up if that's comfortable for you. On your inhale, raise the arms through your range of motion, gently shifting your gaze upward, bringing the palms towards each other. Maybe you get those palms to touch. And on your exhale, lower the palms back down at your side and bring your gaze back to that neutral position, chin parallel with the floor. 2 more breaths here. Inhale, lift the arms. Keep the shoulders dropped away from the ears, long through the spine. And exhale, lower back down at your sides. One last time. On your inhale, raise the arms, palms together. And exhale, lower the arms back down at your sides. And go ahead and bring your palms onto your lap, back into your neutral, upright position with good posture. Now to get a nice stretch through the backs of the arms, through the triceps, into the shoulders, and creeping into the upper back, I invite you to flip your palms up, resting the backs of your hands on your lap. Beginning with the left arm, bring your left fingertips to your left shoulder. This is level 1. You may choose to stay here. However, if you're looking to increase the sensation of the stretch and that's safe and comfortable for you, I invite you to raise the left elbow up towards the ceiling, dropping the left hand behind the shoulder. This is level 2. You may choose to stay here, or for level 3, take the right palm and reach across and press just behind that left elbow, pressing back so that the elbow is coming more towards, pointing towards the ceiling. And check in with your alignment here. It can be tempting to kind of lean out to the side one way or the other, but try to keep the shoulders directly over the hips. Stay nice and tall with your weight evenly distributed through your sit bones. Breathe through the sensation of the stretch through the back of the left arm. On your next exhale, gently lower the backs of the palms back onto your lap, shoulders back and down. Now let's go to the right arm, right fingertips to the right shoulder. That's level 1. If you choose level 2, raise the elbow up towards the ceiling, dropping the right hand behind the right shoulder. If you choose level 3, take the left palm and reach across, pressing just above that right elbow, pressing back so that the elbow is pointing more towards the ceiling. Notice the sensation of the stretch and breathe. Just a few moments here. Check in with your alignment, no leaning to the side. Try to find a rhythm to your breath. On your next exhale, gently lower the backs of the palms back onto your lap, shoulders back and down, and just take a moment to notice how you feel. Now to get a further nice deep stretch through the upper body. You're going to take your arms and reach up above you like you're waking up from a nap. Honor your shoulders, honor your range of motion. You may be reaching directly above you, or maybe you're reaching more out in front of you a little bit. That's okay. Wherever you land, make it feel good. Really stretch it out nice and long. The stretches from the fingertips through the shoulders, into the back, down along the spine. So your arms are in a bit of a Y shape. This can stand for yoga. Now to bring those arms into a W shape, bring the elbows in towards the ribs and also towards each other behind you. So the elbows are kind of back and in towards the ribs. Palms are forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, opening the chest. This W can stand for wonderful. Breathe deeply as you hold here, getting a good, true stretch. On your next exhale, extend the arms forward, straight out in front of you, gently rounding the upper back, maybe tucking the tailbone under slightly, and reach like you're waking up from a nap, long through the arms, incorporating the shoulders and the upper back in this stretch. And again, on your inhale, yoga with the Y arms, reach up is wonderful. Into the W, bring the elbows towards each other behind you and towards the ribs. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Deep inhale. And exhale, I love it. Reach forward, extending the arms, a little rounding of the upper back. Reach forward. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, yoga is wonderful. And I love it. Reach forward, extend the arms. One last time. Yoga is wonderful. And I love it. Reach forward. Gently return back to your neutral upright position with your palms resting on your lap, sitting up nice and tall, and take a brief moment to notice how you feel. Now that we've got a great stretch through the upper body, we're going to go on to some work for the hips, the pelvis, and the spine. So I invite you to use your hips to hip walk yourself a little farther forward in your chair. Just far enough so that you have a little space between your back and the backrest, keeping your feet flat on the floor, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to be going into our hip circles, but we're going to break down that movement step by step, beginning with what is called the pooch tuck. So I invite you to take your hands and bring your fingertips to a point on each hand. So the thumbs and the fingertips come together. Now from here, bring those fingertips to your navel. This is going to help us maintain the focal point of our belly button, of our navel, to help remind us of this pelvic tilt for the pooch tuck. So on your inhale, pooch, you dome out the tummy, pull the navel out as far as it can comfortably be. You get a little arch through the lower back. The tailbone is up. And on your exhale, tuck in the navel in towards the spine, tucking the tailbone, a gentle rounding of the lower back and a tilt of the pelvis. Inhale, pooch, dome out the tummy, a little arch through the lower back. Exhale, tucking the navel in towards the spine, tucking the tailbone, a little rounding of the lower back. I invite you to continue to move and breathe at a pace that feels good for you, in and out of your pooch tuck, the 2 extremes of your pelvic tilt posteriorly and anteriorly. Now try to keep the shoulders back and down directly above the hips. It's very tempting to lean forward and back with this pooch tuck, but to further assist in that building that mind-muscle connection, if you're able to keep alignment through the rest of the body, you will strengthen the mind-muscle connection through this pelvic tilt, which is very important for mobility, for control, for balance. On your next inhale, bring yourself back to a neutral position, the midline between the pooch tuck, honoring the natural curvature of your lumbar spine through the lower back. Now release your fingertips from your navel and bring them onto your lap, going on to the second part of our hip circles, which is going to be the pendulum, which is really just shifting your weight side to side. Now we're going to begin by shifting our weight onto the left hip, keeping the shoulders parallel with the floor. Notice I didn't lean out to the side. I simply shifted over onto the left hip. Now press the right foot into the floor, lifting the right hip up off the chair. You may notice a little bit of space underneath of that right hip. This gives you a little crunch of the obliques as that hip is lifted up towards the shoulder. Now we're going to go to the opposite side. Shift onto the right hip. Press the left foot into the floor, lifting the left hip off the chair. A little crunch of the obliques, left shoulders almost coming towards the left hip. You might notice a little space underneath of the left hip. Now we're going to keep this going side to side. Make sure that you're breathing. A lot of moving parts here. Shift on to the left hip. Press the right foot into the floor, lift the right hip off the chair. Inhale. Exhale, shift on to the right hip. Press the left foot into the floor, lift the left hip off the chair. Inhale. Exhale, shift on to the left hip. Press the right foot into the floor, lift the right hip off the chair. Inhale. Continue to move and breathe at your own pace, shifting your weight side to side, using the strength of the corresponding leg to lift the hip off of the chair. Keep checking in with those shoulders. It becomes so tempting to lean to the side. Try to keep those shoulders parallel with the floor, keeping your ears directly over the shoulders. We're strengthening the hips, strengthening the obliques here. Strengthening the legs as well as we use them to lift our body weight, as we shift our weight side to side. On your next exhale, gently bring yourself back to that neutral upright position, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, weight evenly distributed through the sit bones in the chair beneath you. Now that we've broken down our hip circles with the pooch tuck, that pelvic tilt forward and back, and the pendulum, the weight shifting side to side, we are going to go into our hip circles by tying those two movements together. If it helps you, you may choose to keep those fingertips on your navel to help you remember the focal point of that belly button that's going to be moving in a circle directly above your chair. Or you may choose to keep your palms on your lap or maybe even on the armrest. Do what makes you feel most comfortable and what makes you feel most in control of this movement. I'm going to be demonstrating with my palms on my lap. We're going to begin with the pendulum. Press the right foot into the floor, shift on to the left hip. Now pooch, you're going to dome out the tummy as you allow that navel to come forward, a little arch through the lower back. Now shift on to the right hip. Pressing the left foot into the floor, and tuck the navel, tuck the tailbone, tilting that pelvis. And again, on to the left hip. Pooch, dome out the tummy. On to the right hip. And tuck the navel, tuck the tailbone, a little rounding of the lower back. Take your time to get familiar and confident with this movement. Repetition is the only way to build stability and confidence, which is crucial to performing the poses to their fullest. So take your time and be patient with yourself. Keep checking in with those shoulders, keeping them parallel with the floor. And keep in mind you're basically drawing a circle with your belly button just above the seat of the chair. Just a few more hip circles this direction until we switch sides. We're building up a tremendous amount of energy through the hips that goes on up the spine to nourish the rest of the body. Check in with your breathing, steady, rhythmic breath. No shallow breathing. Get all of the air out of the bottom of your lungs with the exhales. Let's take one last hip circle this direction, and then bring yourself back to a neutral position, weight evenly distributed through your sit bones. You may have moved forward or back in your chair through those hip circles, so recenter yourself so that you have space between your back and the backrest. And now we're going to go to the opposite side. Shift on to the right hip. Dome out the tummy. Shift on to the left hip and tuck the navel in towards the spine. All the way around at your own pace, nice and controlled. Keeping the shoulders parallel with the floor. As you get more confident and get more control over this movement, you may choose to make them a little bigger. Dramatize the movement. As long as you're maintaining alignment and control, bigger is better here. But start small. Start with little tiny hip circles until you build up that mind-muscle connection with that pelvic tilt. And with the weight shifting side to side, the movements become much more subtle with practice. Deep breaths, just a couple more circles this direction. Let's take one last hip circle. And as you finish it up, gently bring yourself back to a neutral position, weight evenly distributed, sitting up nice and tall. If at any point your back is getting tired from sitting away from the back of the chair, I invite you to scoot back to use the backrest for support as needed. Now to get a further stretch along the spine after all that hip work, we're going to go into our cat-cow, keeping your palms on your lap. On your exhale, gently tuck your chin towards your chest. Gently round the shoulders forward and tuck that tailbone. So you're nice and rounded out. And make sure that you're only rounding out as far as is safe and comfortable for you, listening to not only sensations in your body, but your doctor's orders as well. You may like to imagine that there's a string from your chin to your tailbone pulling them toward each other. On your inhale, going into the opposite movement of cat pose into our cow, keep your palms on your lap. As you shift your gaze upward at a diagonal angle, chest is nice and open, shoulders back and down, a little arch through the lower back, the tailbone is up. Deep breaths as we hold here. And I invite you to allow your own breath to lead your movements in and out of cat-cow. Exhale as you tuck your chin, round your back, tuck your tailbone, squeeze out all of the stale air from the bottom of your lungs. And on your inhale, shift your gaze upward at a diagonal angle, shoulders back and down, a little arch through the lower back into cow. Continue moving and breathing at a pace that feels good for you, at a pace that allows you to work through your full range of motion while working the full capacity of your lungs. Just a few more moments here. Enjoy the sensation of this stretch along the spine, into the hips, into the pelvis. On your next exhale, gently bring yourself back to a neutral position, sitting up nice and tall. If you have a footpad of some sort, I invite you to gently scoot it out of the way as we all scoot a little farther forward to the edge of our seat, far enough so that you can extend the legs and have heels to the floor and toes coming towards you. You're going to keep the left leg extended as you plant the right foot on the floor. Keep the palms on the thighs, sitting up nice and tall. Lead with the chest as you hinge at the hip crease and lean forward, keeping your neck in line with the rest of your spine. Shoulders dropped away from the ears. Left toes are actively coming towards you. That left foot is flexed. Notice the sensation of the stretch through the back of the left leg. Allow the sensation to increase and rejuvenate from moment to moment. On your next inhale, gently press yourself back on up to an upright position. Plant the left foot and extend the right leg. Right foot is flexed, sitting up nice and tall. Add in the forward fold, lead with the chest, hinge at the hip crease with a nice flat back, keeping your neck in line with the rest of your spine, staying supported with your palms on your lap. Keep the shoulders dropped away from the ears, and breathe as we hold here just a few moments. On your next inhale, press yourself back on up to an upright position and plant the right foot. Now from here, we're going to go into a quadricep stretch, so a good stretch for the fronts of the thighs into the hip flexors. There's two ways of doing this. Level 1, the most simple way, would be to simply take that left foot and step underneath of the chair, just placing the toes underneath of the chair as far back as feels good for you, so that that left knee is pointing towards the floor, either at a diagonal angle or maybe all the way straight down, depending on your range of motion. Once you're there, sit up nice and tall. You may even choose to lean back slightly, keeping your core nice and braced. Breathe through the stretch through the front of that left thigh. Or if you have more stability, range of motion, and strength, you may choose to shift to the side so that you're shifting onto the right hip. And then you take that left foot and step back so that the left knee is pointing down towards the floor. You're staying supported. Maybe your palms are on the edge of the chair for support. That right hip is just kind of resting on the edge of the seat, and sit up nice and tall. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Wherever you've landed, breathe through the stretch. Just a few moments here. On your next exhale, gently bring yourself back to a neutral position. If you turn to the side, face forward. Feet are flat on the floor, knees over ankles. Now let's go to the opposite side, whether you choose level 1 or 2. Level 1 would be to take your right toes underneath of the chair behind you, just stepping back. So the right knee is either out at a diagonal angle or straight down towards the floor, depending on your range of motion. Or if you choose level 2, you may choose to shift onto that left hip on the edge of the chair, hold on to the chair for support as needed, and step back with that right leg. So the right knee is towards the floor, palms are either on your lap or on the chair, and you're sitting nice and tall, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. You'll notice as you lean back slightly, it increases the sensation of the stretch. But honor your body, honor your spine. This should feel good. There's no need to force yourself into any position that causes discomfort, pain, or strain. Postures are done with strength of the mind, not strength of the muscles. On your next exhale, gently return back to a neutral position. Sit bones in the chair, weight evenly distributed, palms on your lap, feet on the floor. We're going to end with a gentle twist to wring out any remaining tension or toxins lingering in our body. I invite you to open your arms out at your sides, and on your exhale, gently twist at the waist to the right, allowing your palms to land where they may. If you have an armrest, your palms may come onto the armrest for support, or maybe they come to the outside of the right thigh, or maybe onto the edge of the seat, or maybe, depending on your range of motion, they come all the way to the back of the backrest. Wherever you land, just breathe through the stretch. It's a gentle twist, so there should be no strain, just releasing tension along the spine. Shifting your gaze over that right shoulder increases the sensation of the stretch. Do what feels right for you. On your next exhale, gently release your palms from the chair or your thigh, wherever they've landed. Sweep the arms across to the opposite side to the left, either onto the armrest or the outside of your thigh or the edge of the chair, or maybe onto the backrest, allowing your gaze to shift over that left shoulder if that feels good for you. Breathe through the stretch as you gently twist at the waist and hold. Holding the position, not holding your breath. Stay elongated through the spine. It can be tempting to round out into the twist. We're looking to stay tall through the spine, lifted through the chest. Continuing to imagine that marionette string from the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. On your next exhale, gently release your support, bringing yourself back to a forward-facing position. Take a moment to notice how you feel. If you have a foot pad, go ahead and bring it back out so that we can all scoot back to the back of our chairs, so that we can take some time here at the end of our session for Shavasana. I invite you to once again find your easy pose, your Sukhasana, and close your eyes with heavy eyelids. This last technique we'll practice today is meditation, or mental focus, whatever you want to call it. Meditation begins with concentration, the effort to steady the mind and focus on one thing. In meditation, we consciously shift our thoughts to concentrate on an object of our own choosing. The ability to choose our thoughts is an important tool for stress management. We don't always have to ride the train of thoughts that come to mind. There are many techniques for meditation, one of which we've practiced quite a bit today, observing the breath. A word or image can also be used as an object or focus for meditation. Whatever technique you practice should be engaging, uplifting, and enjoyable for you. I'll guide the technique of observing the breath while mentally repeating a word that you find uplifting. Feel free to use any other silent technique you prefer. To begin, check in with your posture, sitting comfortably with your feet flat on the floor. Lift and lengthen the spine. Let the shoulders relax. Your eyelids should be nice and heavy, or you may choose to leave them slightly open with a soft gaze downward, whatever makes you most comfortable. Bring the awareness to the natural flow of the breath. Notice the different sensations of the breath, and focus on some aspect, the flow, the movement, or the rhythm. Think of a word that is uplifting for you, perhaps a quality that you would like to cultivate. You might say relax on the inhalation and release on the exhalation, or any other words you choose. Please repeat the words silently with the breath. As you notice the mind wander, gently bring it back to focus and continue. I invite you to bring awareness back to your surroundings after that brief meditation. Notice how you feel. You may choose to gently open your eyes or keep them closed. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. I invite you to open your arms out at your sides with the palms up. We're going to finish today's session with a couple of nice deep breaths. On your inhale, raise the arms, bring the palms together through your range of motion. And on your exhale, lower the palms down through heart center. Pause after the exhale to open the arms. And inhale, raise the arms, fill your lungs. Exhale, palms down through heart center. One last time, and I invite you to Om on the exhale with me. Open the arms and inhale, deep breath. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.